he's coming back. You know, he went to Texas. Didn't you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. He was invited to go to Texas because their pujari had to go somewhere.
Was it in Houston?
No, in
Sadhananda?
Sadhananda's farm.
Oh.
Yeah. So he's filling in until the 8th. He'll be back on the 8th. And they paid his ticket and he flew out there.
Oh, that's nice.
He'll be back. Okay, so salvage whatever time that we have left, but because we don't have the general standing over us,
We have a lieutenant.
we have some we have some leeway, little leeway, right?
Yes.
This is who we are.
Okay.
Okay, so we did a nice long class.
Jai Saparikar Shri Guru Gauranga Kandharvika Giridhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Radha Govinda Jiu Ki Jai Jai Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Jiu Ki Jai Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhana Ki Jai Shri Nitai Gauranga Ki Jai Shri Nrsimha Bhagavan Ki Jai Jai Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai Srila Gaurkishore Das Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Srila Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Vaishnav Sarvabhaum Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Shri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Das Raghunath Sada Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Srila Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Gaura Parsada Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Go Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Go Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Navadvip Dhama Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dhama Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Gopa Vardhan Dvadashavanatmaka Shri Braj Mandala Dhama Ki Jai Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Yamuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi Bande Ham Shri Guru Shri Jataha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahabhadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Trise Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi pranamami Hari Priye. Jayatam Shuruto Pangor Mama Mandamater Gati Matsarvasva Padambojo Radha Madana Mohano Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadha Srimad Ratnagara Singhasanasto Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Preshtadibhi Sevyamano Smarami Shriman Rasarasarambhi Vam Shivata Tatakstitaha Karshana Venu Sanair Gopir Gopinata Shriyestunaha Brindai Tulsi Debai Priyai Keshavasyacha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha Bhaktya Vihina Aparadha Lakshai Kshiptascha Kamari Taranga Madhye Kripa Mai Tvam Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Numaste Charanarvindam Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. First of all, I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipful beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Astatarasata Sri Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. And then I'm offering my same unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipful beloved Gurudevs, Nitya Lila Pravishtom Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Stotarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj and Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Ashtotarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And my Dandavat Pranams to all of my Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga. And I'm offering my Dandavat Pranams to all the Vaishnavas and all the Vaishnavis. So continuing now at our very quite slow pace. Have you heard the classes in the last?
Yeah.
But
I don't know what page we're on.
Yeah. Okay, we're on page 228.
Okay.
And what we had read yesterday, we got up to this point where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was speaking in Udupi, the place of Sri Madhvacharya. He was speaking with the Acharya of the Madhvacharya Sampradaya at that time. And Mahaprabhu told to that Acharya, Prabhu Kahe, that means Mahaprabhu said, Karmi Gyani Dui Bhakti Heen. Karmi Gyani Dui Bhakti Heen. That means these two categories of persons, karmis and jnanis, they are devoid of bhakti. Bhakti heen means without bhakti. Then he said, Tomar Sampradaya Deki. You know what that means? That means I am seeing that in your sampradaya, say dui chinna, there is these symptoms of karma and gyan are present in your sampradaya. Mahaprabhu is pointing out to the acharya, or the Madhvacharya line. So, then he said, but your sampradaya, coming in the line of Madhvacharya, I am seeing that your sampradaya has one very great virtue. Sabe ek guna deki. I am seeing a particular gun, very good quality in your sampradaya, Tomar sampradaya. What is that? Satya vigraha ishware karaho nishchayi. That your sampradaya accepts the deity form of Bhagavan. Satya vigraha ishware. In other words, the vigraha, the archa vigraha in the temple, is directly Bhagavan. This is the understanding of the Madhvacharya line. One of the prominent positive qualities of the Madhvacharya line. It's okay, she is making
I have to change
the physical body tolerable. We all have to do, right?
I can relate to this.
Okay. All right, so the reason why Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is bringing this up, these shlokas from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is that one should not associate with a Vaishnava, should not associate with from that. Now, he says, it is inappropriate to stay in a place where there is apparent ras abas. Now, we know what that means, but for those who may not be so knowledgeable about it, here in it, basically ras abas means an inappropriate combination of rasas, mellows, rasas, ras abas, okay? But what does that mean? We should not stay in a place where there is apparent ras abas and also opposition to the principles of bhakti. If there is opposition to the principles, we should not stay. But even if they're following the principles of bhakti, but they have an improper conception of siddhanta, and there is an improper combination of rasas, mellows, you should not stay there. And then he's quoting from Madhya Lila, chapter 10. Bhakti siddhanta viruddha ar ras abas shunite na hoy prabhur chitter ullas. So, in other words, if any person desired to recite to Mahaprabhu a verse or a song that they had written, there's so many poets, so many authors are there, especially in those times. And they're writing songs and poems. But if anyone wanted to recite, they desired to recite this directly to Mahaprabhu, Swarup Damodar would first examine that composition, and he would decide whether or not Mahaprabhu would be satisfied to hear it. This is because Mahaprabhu would become unhappy upon hearing anything that contained ras abas or which was against the principles of bhakti. So this is a very strict principle that must be followed. This whole section is talking about householders and renunciates must follow this principle very strictly. So it says here two things. Bhakti siddhanta viruddha. That means it is against the siddhanta of bhakti. Now I'm going to ask you, What does the word Siddhanta mean? We've heard it many, many times, yes? Yes?
Oh, truth?
No?
Knowledge. Real knowledge.
No. It's not, you see, this is the reason, this is the reason why we should understand the Sanskrit terminology. You don't have to be a great scholar to learn a few Sanskrit words. So the reason why I'm always quizzing everyone is to alert them, not to scold or anything, but to alert everyone, okay, I'm making a point here, learn this word. And you may not learn it immediately either, but after hearing my explanation of the meaning of it, then when you hear it in the future, you say, oh yeah, okay, now I understand. So
Siddha means perfect.
that's correct. The word siddha is used in many ways. Siddha, even in the yoga circuit nowadays. Oh, siddhis, siddha yoga, this, that. But what does siddha actually mean, the word siddha? It means perfection, perfect. Okay? There's different types of siddhis, right? Tell me, because you've been a yogini most of your life. What are the siddhis? Yoga siddhis.
Well, it's when someone that practices yoga does it maybe towards making magic or miracles or
Mystic
that kind of thing. But,
Right.
but the kind of yoga that I was involved with didn't encourage that.
Yeah.
As an end.
Yeah. But people are very impressed in general when they see yoga siddhis being displayed.
Right.
There's one gentleman who's no longer on the planet who posed himself as Bhagavan himself. Yes, and he had millions of followers. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Oh, the one with the hair.
Yes.
I know his name.
Sai Baba.
Oh, Sai.
Oh, and the Vibhuti.
Vibhutis.
Is that the one who wrote Autobiography of a Yogi?
No, that's a different one. Paramahansa Yogananda. That's a different person. This person was living now, in this last decades. Only I think maybe in 1990s or, no, in the early 2000s.
I didn't
Passed
know
away.
that he said he was Bhagavan.
Well, all of his followers. Bhagavan. Satya Sai Baba, they call him Bhagavan. Okay. By the way, do you know the meaning of the word Bhagavan? Have you ever understood the meaning of the word Bhagavan? This is a very important point. Our Srila Prabhupada, in introducing Krishna to the whole world through his Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and so forth, he very many times explained the meaning of this Sanskrit word Bhagavan. So, the title of the great book, Bhagavad Gita, that word Bhagavad means of Bhagavan. Gita, song, the song of Bhagavan. And if you read the Sanskrit throughout the Bhagavad Gita, you'll find that when Krishna begins to speak, the words Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Shri Bhagavan said. Okay. Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga. Radha Govinda Jiu Ki Jai. Jai Jai Shri Radha. So now I'm going to explain that word. I'll get back to Siddhanta.
Can I tell a Siddha story when you're done
Yeah.
with all that, when you're finished?
Okay. So, the word bhaga, there's actually a verse. Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yashasha shriya jnana vairagyayosh chaiva Sannam Bhaga Itingina. This is the definition verse that tells what is the meaning of Bhaga. The word Bhaga, Bhagavan, B-H-A-G-A, Bhaga. And so, Van means who possesses Bhaga. And Bhaga means opulences. Now, this is an actual definition of God, okay? And not just any God. This is a definition of the supreme God. There are many gods. There are many demigods, devatas, like this. But there's only one supreme being. He can also expand himself into many other forms, but they're all one. They're all him. Now, we're going to hear 6 opulences. This you should try to commit to your memory, because in English, you can tell that to somebody. Okay? If you ever meet somebody that has this Mayavad conception that I am God, you're God, we're all one, then you can tell them, oh really? Do you possess 6 opulences? You can challenge. Now, I'm going to tell you the 6 opulences.
Or you can say, can I have your wallet?
That's a different, wait for that story.
Okay.
Okay, so here, this is important to understand.
Sorry.
Here, it says Aishwaryasya Samagrasya. Samagrasya means completely, fully. So the first word is Aishwarya. And Aishwarya means wealth. Wealth. Up here on this little hilltop, you've got certain people who think they're very wealthy because they own so much land. But it's not even the tip of a pin on this planet. Then there's others who own islands, mountains, so many persons. But can anybody on this planet say, I own everything? No. Can anybody on this planet say, I own all the planets in the universe? No. But Aishwaryasya Samagrasya means who owns everything. Samagrasya means everything. Everything that exists is owned by this one person. And he is called Bhagavan because he is the possessor, Van, of 6 opulences in full. So that's the first opulence, wealth. When Srila Prabhupada explains this, he also says, yes, you have some opulence, another person has, but you'll find a person has more than a person has more than him, another person has more than him. But if you come to the person who no one has more than or equal to, then he's Bhagavan. Second thing, Virya. Virya generally refers to heroism, power, like that, but it means he owns all energy. Virya. He has all power to do anything. Anything. There is nothing that he cannot do. He is all powerful. So, there are many powerful persons, but there's more powerful persons than them and more powerful than them. And when you go to the higher planets, they're demigods. Some have a certain amount of power, some have more, like this. Even the demons, like Hiranyakashipu, they also become very powerful and they can even defeat the demigods, like King Indra, and cause him to leave his palace, sit on his throne. See? But no one is as powerful as Bhagavan. And when Bhagavan wants to come and remove one of these great demons, he can do it in innumerable different ways. He can trick them, or he can appear from a pillar like Lord Nrsingadev and rip them apart. This is Bhagavan, okay? And when someone is face to face with Bhagavan, and you're a demon, and you're about to be killed by him, then you will know, oh yes, he's the one, I'm not the one. You're defeated, okay? So the power of Bhagavan, his ability, his virya, is infinite, infinite. Okay, next opulence. What's the first one? Yes. What's the second one? Yes. So the third one is called yasha. Yasha means fame. Tell me about fame. Why is fame considered? By the way, all of these 6 opulences that we're discussing, if someone possesses them, or even one of them, or even partially, which most people only partial, they become very attractive to people in general. Oh, he's the wealthiest man on the planet. Oh, he's the most powerful. These opulences are very attractive. What's the third opulence? Fame. What's the first one? Second? Power. And the third one? Yasha. Fame. Okay.
Did you get it, Raga?
Okay. So now the fourth one. The fourth one, by the way, is the main one. The fourth one is the main one. Just like in the Sharanagati, there's 6 limbs of Sharanagati. So there's also 6 opulences. And the main central opulence is this fourth one. Beauty. Beauty. Shriyam. Shriyam means beauty. Yes. So, Yashasha Shriyam. You cannot be Bhagavan if someone else possesses more beauty than you. Right? Then you're not Bhagavan. Because Bhagavan, in any of his forms, he exhibits extreme beauty beyond imagination, beyond conception. And of all of his forms, his original form of Krishna. That's why Krishna means all attractive. He attracts everyone. You know, Krishna has another name, Madan Mohan. You know that name? Everyone say Madan Mohan. What does Madan mean? Cupid. What does Mohan mean?
More attractive then?
No, it means attractor.
Oh, attractive.
Attractor of Cupid. Attractor of Cupid. Now in the material world, this energy of attraction on the material plane, like between male and female and so forth, that attraction is the demigod Cupid. That's his potency on the material plane. But Krishna is called Madan Mohan. He is the attractor of millions of Cupids. They're completely defeated in his presence. So we worship Madan Mohan. He's one of the 3 predominating deities of Vrindavan. Now,
More we worship Madan Mohan.
well, that's the next point I was going to make. You took the words right out of my mouth. Okay, so there's another person who can even attract the attractor of Cupid. And that person's name is Madan Mohan Mohini. Mohini means feminine attractor, okay? So imagine how beautiful and attractive is Srimati Radharani, that Krishna, who attracts everyone, he's completely spellbound and attracted to her. This is the greatest opulence of Bhagavan. And the whole Goloka Vrindavan, everything there is supremely beautiful. Transcendentally beautiful. And when we hear about Vrindavan, that also attracts us because it's transcendental. And the Dham is non-different than the Dham's name, just like Krishna is non-different than his name. So the Dham is also non-different. Vrindavan. You see, all of these names of Krishna, his associates, his abode, everything, are all transcendental and absolute. So, Krishna, nobody possesses more beauty than Krishna. You can say Srimati Radharani, but actually Radharani is Krishna. They are two different forms, but one soul, Radha and Krishna. That's a very deep topic. You'll have to read the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita to understand that topic. Now comes the fifth opulence, Jnana, knowledge. He possesses all knowledge about everything, past, present, future, everything. And Krishna states that fact in the Bhagavad Gita about himself. He states, he declares that I know everything. I know all living entities. I know everything, past, present, and future. But me, no one knows. So he has all knowledge, infinitely. And if someone possesses all knowledge, then they can say, yes, I'm Bhagavan. Otherwise, they are lying and cheating. Then comes the sixth opulence, Vairagya. Vairagya, renunciation. I just heard Srila Prabhupada explaining this just a couple of days ago. It's amazing. The things that we're talking about, I heard Prabhupada directly say it in his lecture. Wow. Explaining these six opulences. And for Vairagya, he says, Krishna, creator of the whole material universe, is everything, but he's not at all attached to anything. He doesn't care. And then Prabhupada corrected himself. He cares, but actually, he's in Goloka Vrindavan and he never leaves Vrindavan. Prabhupada quoted that verse. He never takes one step out of Vrindavan. And he's very, very busy there and occupied there. So therefore, he's not even thinking about this whole material universes. He even takes the role of a renunciate to teach the living entities. So those are the six opulences. You know who wrote that verse? This definition verse? Well, Parasara Muni, the father of Vyasadeva. He has quoted this verse. Sannam Bhaga Itingina. Anyone that possesses these opulences can be called Bhagavan. So the word Bhaga means six opulences. Okay? So Van means possessor. He possesses six opulences in full. That is the meaning of the word Bhagavan. And that's why in the Bhagavad Gita, it's called the Song of Bhagavan. Prabhupada has mentioned Ras. This is Bhagavan himself speaking this. And it's stated directly in every chapter. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna Bhagavan, he has said this. You see. So, Prabhupada says, it does not say Krishna Uvacha in the Bhagavad Gita. No. Svamsha. Svamsha. That means they are an amsha of his own self. Sva amsha. Svamsha. But the living entities, us jivas, we're not in that category where Krishna himself is expanding. Bhagavan himself is incarnating, expanding as so many different personalities. They're all one. They're all him. But the living entities, they're called Vibhinamsha. Vibhinna Amsha. That means differentiated. Vibhinna means different. Bhinna means different. So the living entities are also Amsha. Amsha means a part of him. Amsha. That's why the word in English is used parts and parcels. The living entities are parts and parcels of Krishna. We're his parts and parcels. But we're not him, because we're Vibhinamshas. We're differentiated parts and parcels. How are we different? We're tiny. We're infinitesimal. But he's infinite, you see. So the living entities can never claim that they are Bhagavan, even though we are part and parcel of him, you see. But we cannot claim that we are him. And this is where all the Mayavadis and the impersonalists and so many, they are completely wrong. To say, you're God, I'm God, we're all God. That is not true. Because if you were God, then you would have the qualities of Bhagavan. And you don't. You have a little bit. And then Prabhupada, you know what he did then, as he was explaining that? Then he said, Srila Rupa Goswami, he has very clearly explained in his book, which we have translated as The Nectar of Devotion. You can read it, but there Rupa Goswami has analyzed the position of Bhagavan. He has analyzed the position of Narayan, the expansions of Bhagavan. He has analyzed the position of Lord Shiva in relation to Bhagavan, because Bhagavan has 64 qualities. But no other, even expansion of Krishna, can have 64 qualities. Except for one person. To a certain extent. Baladev. Because there is not one other living being who can dance the rasa dance in Vrindavan. Only Baladev can do that. Because he is actually Krishna himself. Is described like that. Especially on Lord Nityananda's appearance day, we'll discuss this Nityananda topic, Nityananda Tattva. Because Nityananda is Balaram. Nityananda is Balaram. So he has these qualities. Even sometimes he'll be playing a flute. Because even the cowherd boys sometimes play flute. But yet, still he's subordinate to Krishna. He is the servant of Krishna. This is his ego, that I'm the servant of Krishna. Although he knows everything. Although all the other incarnations expand from him, all the forms of Narayan expand from him, not from Krishna directly, they expand from Balaram, Sankarshan. All the Purusha avatars of the material creation, the three Vishnu forms, Mahavishnu, Karandakshay Vishnu, Garbhadakshay Vishnu, Kiradakshay Vishnu, the Paramatma in the heart of everyone, that is Balaram's expansion, you see. But yet, Balaram is not as much beautiful as Krishna, but almost. And that's why Balaram also has his own gopis in Braj. So Balaram is very, very special. And he is Guru Tattva. Balaram is the Akhanda Guru Tattva. He is the very undivided principle of Guru that is spread out throughout the whole creation and millions of universes. That is Balaram. The Guru Tattva, the truth of Guru. You see? So, anyway, Prabhupada was saying, yes, and as, Narayan forms can only have, I forget the percentage, but Prabhupada was saying like something like 83%. And then Lord Shiva can only have something percent. He was breaking it down.
A little bit more, right? Lord Shiva has a little bit more.
Than who?
Son Shiva. Than the Narayan forms.
No, he has less.
He has less.
Sure, of course.
Okay. Son Shiva's, yeah.
No.
Category.
No,
But
we're
I
talking
think
about the
percentage-
Lord Shiva in this world. We're
No,
not
no,
talking
I was
about
talking about
the
the
Sadashiv.
I was talking about the other one.
In the spiritual world,
Yeah.
yes. Sadashiv there is Vishnu Tattva
Yeah.
also, and very special or original form from whom all the manifestations of Lord Shiva, they're coming from Sadashiv. Yeah. So we discussed about the word Bhaga. Say Bhagavan.
Bhagavan.
Okay, now I'm going to quiz you.
Shoot.
What is the meaning of the word Bhagavan?
The possessor of the six opulences.
To what extent?
Most.
Yes. You have to specify that, because everyone possesses. Do you possess a little bit of knowledge? Yes, of course you do.
Sure, I hope.
Do you have a little bit of power? Yeah, it's diminishing with our old age. Okay? So, do you have a little beauty? Yes, but it's also diminishing.
We're falling apart here.
You see, so the thing is that we possess a little bit of the six opulences, very small degree. And even in the perfectional stage, the living entity can possess something like 50-something%.
You're
I
famous,
forget the
Maharaj.
figure. What?
You're famous.
How?
Just
I'm famous for being one of the most fallen sannyasis on the planet.
No, you travel with Gurudev all over the world. So.
Yeah, but that's false fame. Jai Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Radha Govinda Ki Jai. Now that's like the donkey carrying on his back the deity of Kali, right? And he's in a parade, and everybody starts dancing and everything, and the donkey thinks, oh, they're dancing for me. And he starts to dance, and the deity of Kali that he's carrying on his back, then everyone starts to beat him. That's part of the donkey Katha that we hear in Talvan. The ass Katha. So, yeah, so when I ask you what's the meaning of the word Bhagavan, what are you going to say?
The possessor of the most.
Not the most, all.
All.
Complete.
Six.
Whatever exists, he possesses that. He possesses us. But we don't really want to accept that. Right? That's why we're here. Because we don't want to be possessed by Krishna, and we don't want to be the surrendered servants of Krishna. That's why we came to the material world. Our desire to be independent. So therefore, Krishna let us have a material body and a material subtle body and this identity, and then we go through all these species of life. We get to be in every single different species of life, and finally we get a human form, and Krishna gives us the opportunity now. Have you had enough yet? Are you ready now? No? Okay. Go back down. Krishna is he's completely unattached in one sense. Okay, if my jiva, if my living entity wants to be separate from me, okay. Therefore he gives an illusion. He covers us with illusion. Oh, you're this body, and this. That illusion enables us to think that we're separate from Krishna. But actually it's impossible to think that you're separate from Krishna unless you're covered by illusion. Because it's not true. Every living entity is completely united with Krishna. Krishna's in our heart, even in the heart of the demons. Krishna's there. Because every jiva, no matter how bad they're acting in the material world, no matter how much bad karma they're accruing, they're still Krishna's part and parcel. So Krishna's only waiting, and he will give as much time. There's no limit. And if you haven't learned yet, in this day of Brahma, in this lifetime of Brahma, by the end of the universe, okay, you go back into the body of Mahavishnu and then you come out again in the next creation of another universe.
He's very accommodating.
Lots of good options.
He's not going to interfere. This is the point. He has given free will to the jivas. That free will is the greatest jewel Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes. Why? Because without that free will, you cannot attain pure love for Krishna. That free will and the proper utilization of it enables you to attain Krishna Prem, the greatest attainment. So Krishna never removes that from the jiva. He allows the jivas to get the fruits of their activities in this material world, which is mixed suffering and enjoyment. It's always like that, you see? And sometimes very severe suffering, right? But it's only temporary. And it goes on lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. So that's why I'm saying that we can only really imagine that we're separate from Krishna, but we can never be separate from him. So Krishna consciousness is waking up. That's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote the song, Jeev Jago. Can you say? Gaur Chandra Bole, Koto Nidra, Jao Maya, Pisha Chira Kole. Here's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gaur Chandra, who is calling out, wake up, sleeping souls. Wake up, sleeping soul. Jeev Jago, Jeev Jago. Gaur Chandra Bole. Mahaprabhu is coming and calling out to all of us. Gaur Chandra Bole. Then he asks, Koto Nidra, Jao Maya, Pisha Chira Kole. How much longer are you going to remain sleeping in the lap of who? The witch. The witch called Maya. Why is he using the word Pishachi, witch? Why is Bhaktivinoda Thakur calling Maya a witch? You have to understand. Huh?
She's powerful.
Yeah. But try to think. Why specifically is she being referred to as a witch? What do witches do? Are they kind and affectionate?
They cast spells.
They cast spells, correct. Are we under a spell?
Yeah.
Yes. We're under the spell of the witch called Maya, okay? Maya is the illusory energy. And also, when they cast spells, are they doing beneficial things for the jivas? Huh? Are they cuddling them? Cuddling the jivas in their lap?
The witches?
The witches, the witch called Maya. Witches are always doing torturing things to other living beings. Now Maya is Krishna's own energy, but she is playing that role as a service to Krishna to give punishment to the conditioned souls, because by that they learn gradually. This is how the souls gradually learn, you see. And therefore it's a form of mercy. Just like when a parent punishes the child, it's a form of mercy and love from the parent to correct the child and teach them how to behave properly, right? We can't say that the parents are being so cruel. Of course, there are in the material world very bad cases of, what do they call it? Abuse, yeah. But most parents, they have love for their children. So Krishna actually, he has affection and love for all jivas because they're his own parts and parcels, right? But he's also detached. He's detached. And he will wait. He'll not disturb the jivas in their free will, and he will wait, as he has been doing for each and every one of us. And it will go on eternally, with the creation of the material universes, and the jivas can play out their fantasy of being separate from Krishna. But actually, there is nothing separate from Krishna. You know that one verse, I'm trying to think. How does that start out? It's the verse which has Gurudev Tatma in the end. Gurudev Tatma. How does it start? Yeah, see, the way that my filing system in my brain works is that this has been filed and it hasn't been taken off the shelf for a long time, right? So now when I'm walking down the aisle of that topic, so now certain things start coming out of the haze, right? And then I'm trying to trigger, oh, there's this one verse and it has such and such words in it, and somehow or other, maybe, not always, but maybe the verse just suddenly like, okay, here I am, But it would be nice if the old age had not removed.
I don't even have a filing system.
No, you do.
Yeah, so.
No, I just leave it.
That's what I'm saying.
KK should know it
There's
though.
so many verses. Okay.
I just look for the book that it's in. That's what I do.
Okay, Dvitiya Abhinivesha
There it
Tasyat.
is. There it is.
What's the first word? Dvitiya
Something about
Abhinivesha Tasyat.
fear.
Bayam, there it is. Bayam Dvitiya Abhinivesha Tasyat. Ishadape Tasya Viparyayo Asmriti. Abhinivesha Tasyat. So, fear, where does the fear come from in a jiva? That Bayam Dvitiya Abhinivesha Tasyat. Now Dvitiya is referring to duality. Dva, the word dva means two. And fear arises when the living entity is abhiniveshata, completely absorbed in the conception of duality. That there is duality, actually, when you boil down what is duality, then duality is saying that there's something other than Krishna. Is there really anything other than Krishna in reality? Can you explain how there's nothing other than Krishna?
Everything is made of Krishna's energy.
Yes.
So there is nothing separate from Krishna.
Exactly. And it is Krishna, actually. Krishna and his energies are simultaneously different and non-different. Okay? So therefore nothing is separate from Krishna. Are you Krishna? In one sense you are. Because you're his energy. And there's nothing separate from Krishna. So, you see, the conditioned soul, when he's in this absorption, in duality, Bayam Dvitiya Abhinivesha Tasyad Ishad Apetasya Viparyayo Asmriti. Asmriti means forgetfulness. He becomes absorbed in forgetfulness, and his natural position becomes viparyayo, reversed. The natural position of the living entity is to be aware that I belong to Krishna, I'm Krishna's eternal servant. But ishad apes tasya viparyayo asmriti. He becomes absorbed in this duality and this conception of separateness. So, then the second part of the verse, which I'm still waiting for the trigger to... it tells you the solution to this.
By taking shelter of Guru.
But Bhaktyayikayesham Gurudeva Tatma is the last line. Oh, Mayat. What?
Is it does it start Kripa? Kripa? No.
No. So, Bhaktyayikayesham Gurudeva Tatma. But the line before that. Oh. Bhajato.
Do you know it in English? Then
Well,
maybe the Sanskrit will come.
Yeah, but usually I do it the opposite way. I say the Sanskrit, then that reminds me.
Wow.
Well,
You
sometimes
know?
the English might remind you of the Sanskrit.
It does sometimes, yeah, of course. Something mayato, to come out of this maya, to come out of this illusion, then one has to do one pointed bhakti, bhaktyayika, esham, to isham, and Guru Deva Tatma. One has to worship Sri Guru as one's life and soul. Yes, Guru Deva Tatma. All right.
But
Okay.
did you ever explain the definition of Siddhanta? Sorry.
Thank you for reminding me.
That's where we started.
So Siddha, you already
Perfect.
told what Siddha means, and Anta means.
The end.
So what does Siddhanta mean?
Completion.
What does Siddhanta mean?
I think it means perfect knowledge or perfect truth. That's what I think. But that's not right.
No, it means conclusion.
Vedanta, doesn't
Oh,
Vedanta?
conclusion.
What?
Is it the same as Vedanta?
Well, Vedanta is Veda Anta and Siddha Anta. But what does Anta mean?
Perfect
It means the end or
Oh.
the conclusion. So Vedanta means the conclusion, the end of all Veda, of all knowledge is Vedanta. And Siddhanta means the perfect conclusion of all knowledge. It is referred to as Siddhanta, and sometimes just called Siddhanta. They do not have a proper conception of Siddhanta. That's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur was saying.
Okay, sorry. So to come out of this Maya, you have to have one pointed devotion to Krishna
And Guru. Yes, Guru and Krishna. And one has to have one pointed devotion and consider Sri Guru as one's very life and soul.
Are these Krishna's words himself from 11th canto?
No, this is from the Nava Yogendras, the 9 rishis who were talking with Maharaj Nimi, I think his name was, right? Yes. In the beginning, the very beginning of the 11th canto. So, all right. I didn't get the whole verse, but you what?
Can I tell my Siddha story?
Oh yeah, tell.
Okay, well there's this devotee in ISKCON, he tells a story. He's now a big guru and I can't remember his name. But he has an Indian body and he came here to do the marriage of Nama Pacharani, do you remember?
Oh, it was long.
Anyway, you would know him if I could remember his name. But when he was
Oh,
here,
Bir Krishna Swami?
no, he's Indian,
Indian
body, and he grew up in India and he had a siddha, magic power. He could,
He was a sannyasi?
now he's a good, it was something that, and he was famous, he had followers, he had a movement around him, he was a young man.
Because that's what Sai Baba used
I
to
was
do.
gonna
Was
say.
it ashes?
Yeah, he used to show ashes. Yeah.
I think, yeah, it's
He
real
did
big.
various things, various objects, but ashes was a common thing.
I mean, he really could do it. And then, but he somehow or other, he came to Srila Prabhupada and he became his disciple and he went to take initiation, Harinam, and he got his beads. And Prabhupada handed him his beads and he patted him on the head. And then Amitabha says since that day, he no longer could make ashes come from his palm. So, in other words, it was nothing, and Prabhupada took that away because it wasn't favorable for his bhakti.
Yeah. That's a nice story. Yeah, the yogis are playing magic. It is nothing that a pure Vaishnava would do. They have whatever mystic powers there are, they can do. Those who are the highest, on the highest level, they automatically possess all mystic perfections, actually. But they don't display that because it's contrary to the mood of bhakti. It's completely contrary. It's full of some kind of personal desire. So they never utilize in that way.
Just spending time with Srila Gurudev, you could see.
Yes, you could.
He wasn't displaying them,
No.
but they were on display.
Yes, but
his mystic powers.
Krishna.
I mean, it was beyond mystic powers, transcendental.
Yes, because whatever is needed for the pure devotee to execute his mission, Krishna arranges for that to be utilized, even without the pure devotee's desire to do that.
Yeah.
You see?
Even some of us conditioned souls, I remember watching book distributors, had this one friend, she could snap her finger, I can't even snap my finger, she could snap her finger in front of someone and hand them a book, and the person would pull out $5, no words exchanged. I saw it. She could snap her fingers and boom, bam, it was like amazing. It was mystical.
There is something like that in that era of book distribution.
Yeah.
The incarnation of book distribution and so forth.
Oh, I'm not talking about that. I mean,
I know, but I'm saying, the devotees were empowered. They were empowered.
Yeah.
They had some skills that were given to them by the Lord, but they're not transcendental.
No.
But they're being utilized. Krishna is giving that so that person can serve the will of the pure devotee. But if they're utilizing that for their own self-aggrandizement, which some did, and it was not in the mood of pure service. But neophyte devotees, they don't always have completely pure mood. It's mixed.
We're warned so often to not pursue these mystical powers and to ward against them, to keep far away from them.
Yeah, I mean, all the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, did any of them perform mystic? But of course, in the song Vaishnava Vandana, it is describing there any one of the associates of our freedom here.
I only stand here when I'm invited and jump over a little bit.
Okay. Yes. She has been deputized by him. Okay. Jai Shri Upadeshamrita ki jai, Shri Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai, Srila Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Gopa, you want to partake? No? I've heard you sing.
You're on again.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm useless.
Can you do it?
What's me?
Okay, I'll sing.
Oh, this is still on.
Oh, yeah, this is still on.